Alright, sorry about all my hands in that picture. Hey everybody, coming on. A little late, I was having to reboot my phone and do all that technical stuff, right? And then my backup phone is plugged in, so I had to do everything in front of you guys. Anyways, hey, I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and I want to welcome you to week 31 of our Bead Stash challenge for this year. Today we're going to draw cards to see what our project will be for this week that we will make live on Thursday. And I'm going to make a quick bracelet. It's kind of what I was in the mood for. I know I made a number of them lately. So, but next week is an exciting change. We are going to make our quails live. So if you bought the quail kit, you get 3 sizes of quail. And if you looked at the past and saw that it was showing that our quail kit was sold out, I don't know, somehow I had clicked a button that was making it act like we didn't have any more kits. We do have kits. So anyways, if you might get it on time if you order like today and pay today, but the link is in our website. And also you can order directly from me. You can comment on this video. If you're new, I need your email address so I can invoice you if you're going to do it through direct contact with me. Otherwise, you can do it on our website, which the link to that, there's a post on our Facebook page about the quail make-along for next week, and it has a link directly to the quail kits, okay? They're $25. You get all of the beads to make 3 kits. You get written directions to make the 3. The only thing you don't get is wire, so you do need to have some 22 gauge wire. I use 22 gauge for the whole project. If you don't have any 22 gauge wire, let me know, because I make mine with this beautiful blue wire. And I do have some more spools of the 22 gauge wire from Softflex. It's beautiful blue. So if you need wire, just info me and I will double check the price on that. I should have checked before we came on, but I didn't. But really, you can use whatever color wire you want. I think most things will go with the blue anyways. So, all right. So that's what we're going to do next week. But let's go ahead and get on to what we're going to do this week, all right? So let me go ahead and flip the camera. My voice sounds a little rough today. We went out to dinner last night, and this restaurant was really noisy. And my husband and I should have sat next to each other instead of across from each other, because it felt like we were yelling all evening. And it felt like I had given a speech yesterday or something. So my voice was a little tired this morning. All right. Anyways, hey, Marianica. Today let's draw to see what we're gonna make this week, and then we'll make our bracelet. So if you remember last week, we used the last make card. So if you're new to Bead Stash Challenge, there's 3 types of cards in these decks, and we currently have 5 decks available. I have all my decks shuffled together. Now, not every deck has make cards, okay? Not every deck has all of the cards. Actually, most of them have most of the cards, though. So it's all up in the air today, because this is the combined make cards. So if you're starting out, you'll want to buy deck 1. To go with deck 1, we also have our color deck, which adds a bunch of color options to your designs. It's great if you're one of those people that always goes to their favorite color. It shakes things up a little bit, makes you combine things you might not have thought of, and sometimes you get some really interesting results. We also have our non-jewelry and findings kit, which helps you use all those findings that you have. Basically, findings or any of those metal components, clasps, bead caps, all of those things, right? So we have a deck that helps you use those. It also has you make non-jewelry things. So our quails, this is a non-jewelry thing, okay? So just so you know. And then we have 2 theme decks, which have a little bit of all 3 kinds of cards, and that's our Sun and Sea deck, which is very beachy, summer vacation-y. You'll see those cards pop up periodically in our sessions. And then we also have the Desert Southwest deck, which adds things all from the Desert Southwest, like I said. So anyways, let's see what we're going to make this week. We are going to make a ring. We haven't made a ring in a while, so that'll be fun. It'll be a good reminder. All right, our next type of cards are our used cards. Now, when I make my projects each week, I kind of set the cards aside and until I run out of cards in the deck, and then I reshuffle them all together. So used cards we've been using for a while, because this is usually a pile like this big, okay, when it's brand new. But I draw 3 of these. These are the things I'm going to pull out of my stash to make this week's project. And let's see, we're going to use tan in our design. That's from our color deck, okay? We're going to use gemstones in our design. And we use leather. I don't know about a leather ring, because I don't like to take off my rings when I'll think about that. But you know what? Sure, I'm always willing to try anything, right? Obviously, I can't wear it all the time. Anyways, our third kind of card is our challenge cards. And these add a theme or a design aspect to our project and help us boost, our creativity as we're thinking about it. All right. So I find that these cards, sometimes they do, what it says and they make it a challenge. Other times it kind of helps me focus my design. All right. So have a friend or family member pick beads for your design. I will have to have my husband pick out my stuff when I'm ready to make this. So just as a cheater thing for some of you is what I will do is pull out, 4 or 5 things to let him choose, because obviously he's not going to go rifling through my beads, and I wouldn't want him to. So just if you draw that card, probably want to narrow it down for that person first, okay? So Thursday at noon Pacific, we will make a ring. It's going to have leather in it somehow, right? We are going to use gemstones. We are going to use something tan. And we are going to have a friend or family member pick the beads for our design, all right? So that's exciting news. Yay. All right. So let's get on with what we're going to make. Just a second. Like I said, thirsty. All right. So I'm going to play again with, we played with this a couple of weeks ago. I meant to bring the bracelet, but I didn't. These are beads from July's bargain bead box. I just love the colors. So we have some apatite. Yeah, that's what. Double checking. Apatite nuggets. Which are in this nice dark bluish. A little bit of green in there. We've got some green magnesite. It's actually look pretty, almost look like Chinese turquoise there. And then this is synthetic turquoise. So it's man-made turquoise, which doesn't mean it's not stone. It just means it's reconstituted, which a lot of the magnesite and stuff is. That's why you get some cool shapes and they dye it, but you know, it happens. I thought we would play with these today, maybe. These are Z agate beads. So these are old style beads from Burma, I think. But they actually, the designs are on here. They use like a way, they put something on there and then they heat it and it develops these designs. So I believe this is the evil eye pattern. So a couple of these are kind of greenish. I'm going to use those. I think I'll set this other one that's mostly clear aside. We have some spacers. We're working with, oops, I dumped the whole bag. I didn't need to do that, but that's fine. These are antique brass spacers, and then the clasp in this one's a little big for bracelets and these size beads, so I'm going to, I just pulled a brass toggle out of my stash, and we're going to use this beautiful lapis beading wire from Softflex, because I think it goes perfectly with, I know it says it's lapis, but it looks wonderful with these beads. Okay. All right, let's see what we want to do here. Kind of want to shake it up a little and add this color, but on the other hand, I'm putting those in there. So maybe I won't use the green again. I really like this color. It's an authentic turquoise color, but even though they're man-made beads, but or at least they're dyed beads. Okay, they're dyed to look like turquoise. All right, let's find the end of this strand here. Sometimes, you know, in your box you get short strands, but I am thrilled that there's this nice long strand of these nuggets because they're super yummy. Okay. All right, so I thought we would use some of these and then maybe intermix these in here. And then we'll intermix some spacers. We could just use the metal spacers. That would be very classy. If we want a little more color, I can use turquoise spacers. I have a little thought here. Let's put some of this on the string and see what it looks like, and then we'll. So I'm thinking maybe start with a turquoise here. I don't know. I like to have small beads on the end, especially if we're using a toggle. So I'm going to put those two beads, you know, and sometimes I use chunks of beads. All right, so I'm thinking, let's see what this looks like. I think I like it better with just the turquoise there. So maybe we'll do that. All right. So, I mean, these are kind of chunky beads, so we'll have to add a little bit to the length. You know, if you're making it for just general consumption, you don't have a specific person in mind, you probably want to go for 7 to 7.5 inches, or figure out a way to make it adjustable. With a toggle, it's not really going to be adjustable, okay? That's just the reality of using a toggle, okay? But if I'm going for, typically my bracelets run about 7 inches, and since this is chunky beads, I think we'll definitely go for 7. So what I want to do is have my center bead, let's see if these are, yeah, at like 3.5. And then maybe at the 2 and the 5 mark, we'll put those beads, and then we can put some beads around them, right? So the question is, it's like we can maybe only get 1, and maybe 2 beads. And we probably can actually put a spacer in there. So. All right, let's try that. So this, and then there, and there, and there. So if you guys are watching this on the replay, you know, let me know you're watching. I'd love to know who's out there, where you're coming in from. If you're watching it live, that's even better. Feel free to let me know you're there and ask questions. We are just laying out our design here. And we're, you know, some of this we're going to have to string up just to see see how long it really ends up being. All right, where's my, try not to pour too many beads out all over that I have to put on here. Now, always remember that your clasp adds up to 1 inch, so I'm kind of thinking this might be a tad too long. Oh, I only have 2 there. But we'll see. When we string it up, it may tighten up, because these beads are, you know, skinnier than they are wide. I really don't like those 2 particular nuggets, so let's use these ones. And we shall see how this looks strung up and how long it ends up being, okay? Now, if you work with nuggets a lot, you know that the nuggets are, these are obviously hand cut, and they're irregular in sizes. You know, nobody's trying to make them exactly the same size, which, you know, some people like that. It bothers other people. If you're one of those people that likes things, you know, to look very precise, then you're not gonna want to work with irregular nuggets. Just saying, it'll drive you crazy because things aren't gonna be exactly even, but I think they do have a charming look. But I also, you know, I live in Tucson, so we tend to like things a little more rustic and natural around here. So it's totally a look that I am fine with. So, but if you want it to look machine made, then you probably want something that's a little more consistent. It does make it a little hard to estimate sizes. You really do just have to kind of make it up and see what it ends up being, right? And once again, I am going to say, if you own any of this lapis blue, you guys can tell I love blues and greens, right? This lapis blue soft flex looks yummy with this apatite. Oh, I like that. What do you guys think? That's pretty cool. So what does that end up being? So it's probably about right. You know, we'll add, you know, the secret is to try it on your wrist without it falling off. So, you know, it's pretty close to being at the size of my wrist, which could mean, so I have a couple options here. Like, I could take off one bead, and then I know it's not going to be the same. Or I could also look at my strand and look there. Here's a couple of skinny ones. Maybe I can swap. More than that are skinny. There's one all the way down there. Maybe I'll do that. At least then I have a consistent number of beads there. You know, if so let's try it with, all right. This is the bigger one of those. All right, so now the other thing you can do with, is there an extra? Yeah, see that shortened it down just enough. If I really wanted to redo things, you know, I would probably put like a thicker one there, like swap these out, which I could. Maybe I'll do that. All right. So let's take these off again. Now, see, we're just sizing things. So let me put, we'll just use this guy. And then we're going to put a thin, one of the thin ones on. Okay. Now, if I needed to cut it a little more, the other thing I could do would be to take one of these, take like two of these spacers out too. But we're going to go ahead with this. We're going to try it. And let me, my clasp apart here. I like it when these clasps come, you know, with the jump ring, but I don't need the jump ring here, so I'm going to set that aside and save it because those come in handy. And remember, we're going to swap out one on the other end when we get down there, right? So let's put the clasp on. We've got our we've got some crimp beads here, so we're going to put a crimp on, and then we're going to put our one side of our clasp on there. We're going to stick the wire back through the crimp, and you can decide how much you know, how much space you want. I want it to be able to move around a little, but not, you know, add a bunch of length. So, you know, I like it probably about that size, which is less than 1/8 of an inch. All right, so I'm leaving a little cord on here because I think all my beads are wide enough for the tail to go back through there. All right, we're going to use the magic crimper. So when you use the magic crimper, if you can get these ends not to be twisted, that's great. But what you do, there's a little divot in there. You see that? Now you put the crimp in that, center it in that divot, and then you squeeze. You end up with something that looks a little bit like a ravioli. And then you're going to turn it sideways or 90 degrees, center it in that divot again, and you're squeezing, and then you're just going to kind of turn it and squeeze. Hey Janelda, we're just making another bracelet from last month's bargain bead box, because you all know how much I love me some Amazonite, or some apatite, and Amazonite, quite honestly, but yes, it was ravioli time. All right, so let's slide everything down. That looks good. So now I just need to cut off, and let's, you know, since we know it, our beads go back through here, I'm going to leave a couple inches down here. We can't forget that we have to switch out our bead at this end. So let's do that real quick, because we're putting in a narrower bead because it'll fit better. And then we're putting our beads back on the string here. All right, let's see. Let's see how it fits around the wrist, huh? Actually, I think this might be pretty good, but you know what? We may have it too short now, so let's try it on. So the nice thing about, you know, when you're using flex wire and like toggles, so what you can do is go ahead and put this on here, you know, pull everything down nice and tight, and then we stick it on our wrist, and I think it's going to be just fine for my wrist. Now, if you know, again, if you have somebody with a larger wrist, you might want to make it small, make it bigger, add a couple more beads. So I'm going to pull this back out a little so I can tuck the tail in to a few beads. And again, you do this just in case you did not get that crimp bead on there good and tight, right? chances are your wire, beading wire, is not going to fail. The only thing the thing that's most dangerous is your crimp, because it's small. And if you're using thin crimps, they can come apart. So, all right, let's take a couple things here. All right, I'm going to pull that tight. I want this close, but I also want it to be able to maneuver, right? You don't want it too stiff so that you're fighting it to get it on your wrist. But I also don't want a bunch of thread showing. Now, sometimes you have to leave it a little loose and you will have thread showing when you're first putting it together. But when you put it on, the bending, you know, helps cover those things. So, right. So let's push all that down. Pull this a little bit. And then let's make our crimp here. Now, if you wanted to if you're using the other kind of crimper and you're going to use crimp tubes, you have to leave a little more space so that you can get to your crimp tube. Get to your crimp, so to put the crimp tube over it, but the advantage of using the magic crimper is you don't have to use a crimp cover, right? All right. Just make sure I can get in there and that I'm getting both sides of the crimp in my, so I did it a little tight. All right. So there we go. Yay. All right, and then I'm going to trim this extra, and I'm going to make sure I don't trim the one that's going through the beads. Don't say that'll never happen, because it happens to everybody at some point. All right, let's get this out of the way. You know me, I leave my tools everywhere. All right. So there's our bracelet. I'm liking this. The Z beads are so much fun. I have some in other colors. I think I do have some blue, but not. But there we go. And look, it's pretty well. You know, I wouldn't want it any longer for my wrist, but that's how it goes. And, you know, just remember, if you're buying toggles, you want the toggle part to extend over. So this one's really not going to come loose too much, but if you're wearing a bracelet that's way too big for you, it could, right? So most of the time mine don't come out, but every once in a while they do. But anyway, there's another fun apatite bracelet. You gotta love you some apatite. Like I said, these are my favorite, and I even don't mind using these gold or antique brass spacers. I am not normally an antique brass or a gold person, but they look actually really nice with these beads. So, all right. Again, my computer's doing fun. Just as a reminder, so let me go ahead and flip this. Thank you for joining me. I will post this online, and so Thursday, we've got 2 big events this week. All right, Thursday we are going to be back. We're going to make a ring using leather, so that's going to be different, right? We're going to use gemstones, we're going to use tan, and we're going to let a friend or family member pick our beads. So that's always, who knows? Who knows how that works out, right? And then Sunday, it's quail time. All right. We are going to have our tutorial on how to make our little quail sculptures. Woohoo! So, you know, I will say it may be a little longer than our normal sessions, but we need to get because I will have to show you. Most of them are the same. The feet are the same. They're slightly different beads. Okay. The tails. These two have tails that you have to do things with. The baby, he just has a bead for a tail, so he's fairly straightforward, okay? But we will show you, and I may even show you how to, each kit also includes, you know, a little stand for the baby. He's the hardest one to get to stand up. Now, you can get him to stand up, and you don't have to put him on a stand. When I'm selling these now, I put them on a stand so that they don't wobble over, because I know how annoying it can be. It's really not as big a problem. This guy has, you know, 2 feet and a tail, so he stands up pretty easily. And then this guy, it's debatable. So getting them to stand will be the hardest thing, but I'm going to show you. We're going to talk about the secrets, and we'll walk you through that. So still time to get your kit. It may or may not get there in time, but the good news is you'll have the tutorial to use along with the written instructions. And again, if you need any 22 gauge wire, like I said, I love to use the blue wire in my to make it blend more with that. But if you don't have blue wire, I do have some for sale, and I want to say it's like $5 for the spool, but I'll at 5 something, but I'll double check. Anyways, I do have some of that, so if you need that, like I said, you can either comment on this video, you can direct message Desert Cat Creations to place your order. If you're new to me, I need your email, and I will send you an invoice. Shipping starts at I think $6.50 now, because they raised the shipping rates again. You know, well, gas prices are going up, everything's going up, right? Apologies for that, but it's out of my control. So anyways, like I said, still time to order your kits. So Sunday at noon we will be making those quails. Thursday at noon we will be making our ring. And you know that hopefully you'll be able to catch the replay. And don't forget, if you haven't already, please like and follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook and Instagram. It's a free way to support a small business, because the more people that like my page, the more actively it gets picked up by the algorithms, and other people will see it and start coming to my page. Okay, so it's helpful. Even if you don't buy anything from me, if you can like and follow me, that's great. If you can subscribe to me on YouTube, that would be great too. I do move all these videos over to YouTube because Facebook only saves them for 30 days. So we do have a Desert Cat Creations channel over there. So if you're looking for any of our older projects, you'll find the pictures on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, of our projects, and then you can see what week they were from, and you'll be able to find the videos. So, and I need to look at the pictures again and see, because I know it deletes these posts, but oh well, that wouldn't be a problem because I don't put pictures with these posts, so never mind. But anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to direct message me or email me. If you're commenting on the video on YouTube, it will send me an email, and then we can have a discussion back and forth. I'm even happy to set up a you know, some sort of a video chat with you guys if you have specific questions, you want to be walked through how to do something. Happy to do that. So anyways, have a great week. I will see you on Thursday. I'll also be putting out our July summary this week, because you know what, it's August now, so I need to put that together. So it's gonna be a busy week, but I'm excited that we're finally gonna get to the coil. All right. So if you're available, I will see you on Thursday. If not, catch the replay and let me know you're out there. I will see you all on Thursday live, and I'm sure I'll see some of you around before then. Have a great week. Bye.